Hi everyone, welcome to your August 2022 reading. So as the name suggests, we're going to be taking a look at the energies that will be in the air or in the world and in our collective consciousness is the best way to say it, in and around the month of August 2022. Now, as you guys know, these readings that I do are considered to be collective readings. And so it really doesn't matter what your sign is and what time you're actually accessing this video. If you feel called to it, if it manifests itself in your environment in some way and you're scrolling by and you decide to check it out and maybe it calls you in, I would invite you to listen to what is presented and to feel, but with discernment, of course, okay? And of course, I'm here to serve you if you would like to work on a more personal level with me, to do any kinds of readings, energy shift, any health screenings, God willing, you go to my Etsy page. Everything is there, and so God is good, and so are you. So let's jump in, and I just want to say thank you to all of our non-physical beings, of which there are many, loving us and attending this session. So the first thing I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to start out with looking at some higher energies. So for those of you who follow me and who may actually be aware of the cards, because if you like doing cards and you love the cards, then maybe you notice that I use the Lightworker Oracle deck by Alana Fairchild when I try to tap into the higher dynamics. But when I really try to go even higher, I like to use the Lemurian Oracle. What was it? I can't remember exactly the name. Is it Beyond Lemuria or something like that? God bless. But you can find the link, the card details in the description box, okay? So this tells me that we're dealing with some really high energies. I do see some choices coming up, and this makes sense. Timelines, right? So we're definitely in the realm of timelines. And as you guys know, August 8th, Lion's Gate portal. Well, everyone talks about it in one way or the other. But the way that I'm going to just briefly tell you about it right now is that it has to do a lot with your energetic shift, energetically shifting your personal timeline, your potential timelines, right? The potential realities. So it doesn't matter what these cards are on the other side. All I know is they're showing up here in this time space continuum in the now moment to show us that we have some timeline realities and choices that we can make, okay? And that's a little bit of a nod. The reason why I had to say that is a little bit of a nod to this idea of purpose. A lot of times we think that we know what the purpose of people, things, situations, blah, 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 the purpose of energies are. For example, you see a chair and you believe that the purpose of a chair is for someone to have a seat or for decor, right? But you actually don't know the purpose, number one, of a chair in general, and you don't know the purpose of that chair, because there are many chairs that have been made with the intention of, having someone sit in them, and no one ever sits in them, and they never serve a decorative purpose at all. And so therefore you notice that your own theory and idea about purpose, and especially as it relates to that chair, falls flat. And so we understand that when we speak and we have discussion and we communicate with each other using human language, human means of communication, that we're bound to hit limitations. And that's just because we need the language. Oh, hold on. Excuse me. Bless me. Okay, that was a sneeze. Yes, it was. We need the language in order to connect with each other, but we remember that the language itself carries its own limitation. And you can see this when we cross borders, when we cross linguistic borders. All of a sudden we come into contact with languages that have words for concepts that just do not exist in another in another culture. Okay, this is just how it goes. And as you know, in the Tao Te Ching, the text that we use for Taoism, right? The first line says some derivation of the Tao that can be expressed is not the real Tao, right? In other words, if you're trying to talk about source or God or whatever you need to talk about, whatever you'd like to say, then you already know that you're talking about it, but you're not really talking about the real thing, because it's something that is beyond our capability and our capacity to express in the first place. And so we understand, once again, this point that the guides were saying earlier this week in the weekly reading. We understand that we are working within limitation. That's what it is to be incarnated. When you incarnate on earth, at this time, you're incarnating into duality. Duality. Black, white, up, down, in, out, good, bad, what is it? Good, evil, all of that stuff. That's duality, dualistic thinking. And so it's already fragmented. And so once we come into this energetic field, this collective consciousness that we call Earth, filled with its many subsidiaries of consciousnesses, we understand that we just do our best. And so the major point that the guides were saying this week is that please understand it, that we understand that you exist at this moment. You're physically focused because you exist elsewhere. You exist outside of Earth as well. But you're physically focused right now in a dualistic environment. But it is your, it is your obligation, it is your right, your duty, or whatever, your responsibility. Thanks, guys. It is your responsibility to understand that within limitation, you can still work towards remaining flexible. So flexibility within a limited set of ideologies, within a limited set of abilities, looks as simple as, wow, I acknowledge what mainstream ideology is. I acknowledge how that mainstream ideology changes when I go into subcultural areas, when I go into different places, when I speak to people with different experiences on Earth. I can just look at my brother and my sister in the same family, and they will have a different experience because they are experiencing things differently. So I see that there are many kinds of realities on Earth, and we do have a collective mainstream range of what is acceptable and not acceptable, and believable and not believable. However, and as I say this, I see Archangel Michael coming in with the justice energies here, Archangel Raguel coming in with the justice and the sword, saying I need not subscribe, prescribe, whatever, to those consciousnesses. And that's where you meet your sovereignty. So within this limited dualistic consciousness that we occupy as human beings, also limited by our very physical brains, right, and what it can do at this point, we also acknowledge that there is also a considerable amount of strength and sovereignty and ability. And number one, the thing most people forget, there is still a considerable amount of, wait for it, agency. No, what do you mean, Jay? What do you mean? Well, I mean, when I say agency, I mean, damn it, you have responsibilities and you have volition. Yes, you can choose. And I'll tell you from where I sit as a reader, when I work lovingly, of course, within the fields of people, I often see that they misperceive points in their lives. So sometimes they will think that they were at a choice point, and so they did the best they could. They made a choice, they this and that. And then at other points, they will identify those points in their lives as fate. There was nothing I could do. My hands were tied. And I'm looking in their field. I'm like, actually, that Columbo finger, one more thing, wait a minute, actually, this point, that was not a choice, that was specifically designed for you to experience so that you can whatever. And that time they've been guilting and shaming themselves because they thought they made a bad choice. But meanwhile, places where they thought they had no choice, I'm like, dude, you had a choice right there. You had a choice. And this is what trips people up. And listen very carefully. This is what trips people up. They think, number one, that they are making all their choices for an action to be deemed a choice. They have the erroneous belief that choice must have been conscious to them, that it happened at the conscious level, like, oh yeah, I remember making that decision. Number one, erroneous. And the second thing is that they make the mistake of thinking that it happened in, let's say, a now moment, right? When actually, let's explain that a little better. They think that the choice that they made the controlling choice that led to the outcome is proximate to whatever the outcome was. So they think, oh, well, this happened because I chose to go here today. No. From an energetic standpoint, I'll look into your field and realize, oh, actually, for this outcome of getting into this car accident, for example, I almost want to say por ejemplo, so that's for somebody, I guess, to get your attention. For example, getting into this car accident was a result not of your decision this morning to go out to do whatever you had to do, drop off the mail, but actually from a decision you made 2 weeks ago or 4 years ago, and it's now manifesting. So you understand that when they say we're in the sandbox in humanity, it means, hey, wake up, wake up, wake up. We have to wake up to the non-linear nature of time, which doesn't exist. It's just part of this reality here in this collective consciousness on this planet that we have. It's part of the physics of Earth, right? And our scientists are doing a great job in understanding the physics of Earth, but they've fallen apart when it comes to moving interdimensionally. If you start asking about the fourth and fifth dimension, all of a sudden we have to start talking to theoretical physicists who are just, doing their best based on a lot of resources, but it's still not whole enough to understand it. Sometimes to get to that knowledge, it won't be on the chalkboard. It becomes by sitting quietly 11 minutes 22 seconds, right? And going inward. Again, they've been beating this drum. It's not about exploring what's out there and the next frontier, and right now it's space. Maybe one day it's going to be the deepest trenches of the oceans, right? But it doesn't matter if something is coming up in your society, our society, and it's now the mainstream thing. Let's get this. Let's go out to space. Let's do that. Yes, that's all well and good. But listen, it's usually a red herring, and it's usually a divergent path. Don't put all your resources into outward exploration. You focus on inward exploration, which is considerably vast. From the inside, when you start to go inside, you understand your mind, you understand your thoughts. You don't even need to subscribe to some major Lotus Sutra or sit in contemplation for 40 hours on end or do all these books and this and that. It's just get quiet. Get a place to sit, be quiet, listen, 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 feel, 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 think, 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 cry, 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 understand, move around. You were born with the body. Guess what you will transition with? Without the body, but with the soul that came in with it. So you understand, you can see when you really tap into your sacred vehicle, your Merkaba, if you'd like to call it that, your auric field, if you'd like to call it that, when you focus on that and you activate the chakras, for example, your sixth chakra, your third eye, you will look into your hand and you will see the universe. You don't freaking need to get in a spaceship to go out there to meet our galactic guides. They're standing right next to you watching this. They're standing next to me. Who do you think I'm talking with? God, is that you? God's like, yeah, hey, we're all here, but I'm just sitting back. Why don't you talk to your celestials, as they like to be called, or your galactic guides? And if that sounds crazy to you, well, my friend, you got some sitting to do. And I will tell you, they're beating this drum a lot because they're like, wake up, wake up, wake up. If it is your desire to wait for your government and to wait for your teachers and your institutions and your mom and dad and your religion or whatever it is you're waiting for, if you're waiting for somebody out there to tell you about things like space and about ETs and about the health of your body and about this and that, that's all well and good because we do have people who study it. But you have to understand that pace is not as fast as the pace you could be going if you focused on you and your personal authority, your sovereignty. Yes, we live interdependently, but a lot of people over-rely, and over-identify with that which is outside of them, failing to recognize that anything that's outside is just a representation of what is inside in some way. And I can go off into another video about that, but listen, we about that August 2022. But anyway, the guides are like, wake up, okay? Wake up. Because I'll tell you what, yes, you can sit here and wait for life to be discovered, on other planets and for the ETs to come to us and for us to colonize the first place. You can wait for all that and wait for the government to now tell you about the journey you guys are all on, exploring these people, and then they'll force feed you about, and it doesn't just have to be government, the guides are saying, they're like, hit those institutions. That's right, medical institutions, educational institutions, religious institutions, the whole, just look at it. Just look at it all. If you're waiting for these authorities to tell you, number one, what's out there, what it looks like, how you should think about it, how you should feel about it. Yes, let's all get scared, and because when we get scared, we band together, and now guess what? They're going to feed you fear, and they're going to give you a prescription for it. And the next thing you know, you're just handing over your money, your time, your ideology, your heart, your consciousness. The thing you lose is your pace of evolution. If you want to spend another lifetime, God bless, just waiting to be told, do you, and you're on the wrong channel, but love you, right? Or you could just be like, hey, maybe this is all hogwash and whatevs, right? But maybe I'll just keep an ear open and like try some stuff. Let me sit with myself for a little. Yes, I'm feeling a little tickle in my throat. Why don't I sit with it? Put my hand over my throat, get quiet, try to see if I can see into my throat. Can I hear what my throat wants to say? Can I feel it? What are the thoughts coming up? This is knowledge that's been lost. Not for everybody, but for a lot of people. And so many people are just still waiting for their celebrities and all of these. We all love our Jim Carrey, right? But now everyone, because Jim Carrey is a celebrity and he's saying certain things, people are like, oh yeah, he's so deep, he's this and that. And then other people are like, no, he has, God bless, mental issues. And who cares? Don't look to all of these people. Be inspired by people, but sit and focus on you. And this is the great leap of consciousness they're saying that you came here to do. Why did you choose to incarnate at this time? Listen, the souls are trying to get up in this planet right now. You have no idea. If you understood how it goes, they are trying to be born onto this planet right now because it is the hot spot. The consciousness is just evolving and devolving, and it's all over the place, and you have to be responsible for your own evolution, and that requires understanding who you are, looking at your energy field, understanding how your thoughts, your emotions, your core beliefs, how all of those things inform your actions. Your knee-jerk reactions, which inform your actions, and you're either awake or you're not awake. And if you're awake, then what does that look like? That looks like you are being conscious that you're having certain thoughts and emotions and taking certain actions, and that's it. Being awake right now as the next step is being in a place where you are aware, you're able to observe yourself taking those actions, right? And as Michael Singer, the author, love him, as Michael Singer, the author of The Untethered Soul, asks us to do, and also lovely Eckhart Tolle, they ask us to start observing the fact that, hey, some consciousness is observing what I'm doing. You are not your emotions because you have the ability to observe that you're having an emotion. You're not your thoughts because you have the ability to observe that you're having a thought. You are not your feelings because you have the ability to observe that you're having feelings. And so the great shift and awakening is just that. You're either awake to the point where you can observe, boink, or you're sleeping and you're just experiencing. Okay, it's kind of like, let me see if I can explain this in another way. We have our 1 point, boink, 1 point on a plane. Great, yeah, great, 1 point. And then we have, ding, now 2 points. And let's say you were that 1 point, you're just there. And then you're nothing. You're just experiencing. You're just like, you're cute. You're whatever's right, but you're not cute because there's nothing to compare it to. You just are, like Source. You just are. 19 minutes, 19 seconds when I said like Source. You just are. I am. That's it. I am, right? But when you boink, have duality, you have that second point. Now, guess what? Here you are. You can observe the other. And we see this with kids. We see this, God bless. You know, when we're all young, and some of us still do this as adults because there was an interruption or disruption in emotional, growth and whatnot. But it's trauma, right? But kids, they're not conscious of anything. They're just experiencing, and we love it. They'll take up that 10-pound rock and throw it at your head because they're having fun without realizing, oh my God, well, maybe your skull isn't finished, isn't finished fusing yet, and that might go right into one of those holes, or might bust your lip or something like this, right? And so they're not conscious of it. And as these beautiful kids, as we get older and we progress in consciousness, we start to become aware of the other, right? And we may have jealousy and this and that and da-da-da-da. And then when you get even older and then you can observe more, guess what? Boink, there's a third line now. So now you're up here and you are able to see what's happening here. So let's be here in this third space, so to speak. And I'm not talking in terms of dimension. I don't want to talk in terms of dimension because I'm not a dimensionist. I don't know. Some theoretical physicist is like, I can help you. We do third dimension here, right? But when there's this third point of focus, guess what we can observe? What's going on over here? So we need us to start elevating the consciousness. I just realized, oh my God, this card is here. Is it up? I'm not even, stop your lies, okay, not me. I was not lying, guys, I swear. And I'm not talking to you guys, you weren't lying. Look at this. I'm like looking out my window over there, and I just look down and they're like, DNA evolution, right? It's that thing you're speeding on, right? I don't know. Remember? No sponsorships there. But listen, on a serious note, that's what it is. Evolve. So listen, you can continue sipping that Kool-Aid from your governments, your educational institutions, your doctors, your this and that. I am not saying you should not, because there's a lot of learning, a lot of expertise that goes into those professions. We respect it, but we also understand we're being asked to expand the consciousness. And expansion of consciousness is not going to come at the institutional level first. It doesn't work that way. You start on the inside, you start to change by noticing yourself. You change your mindset, 22 minutes, 22 seconds. You change your consciousness, you change your awareness. This is what Buddha was talking about, right? In a very simplified term, mindfulness. Become mindful as you move through. Become mindful, become aware. Be the observer. Observe what you're doing. And the difference in how you move through your world on a daily basis is this. Oh my gosh, I noticed, for example, I'm just making this up, I noticed that I get really angry when somebody tries to tell me what to do, and this person asked me to move my car. Now I'm angry about it. My knee-jerk reaction is like, you don't tell me what to do, you bastard, right? And then I get in a huff and a puff and I say no, or I say I'll do it when I want, or I say nothing and I just do it, but inside I'm fuming. Knee-jerk reaction. But now you're aware that you're having that knee-jerk reaction, and awareness makes all the difference, because you can see, oh shoot, I did it again. And maybe you can't control it just yet and you're just aware of it, but you still had the knee-jerk reaction, right? But eventually, the more that more aware that you are, and the more you start to realize the effects that knee-jerk reaction has on other people, has on you, and then it also starts to seem, as you expand yourself, you're like, why is this a big deal? Just move the damn car. Like, I'm so thankful to be able to have a car when so many people don't. And I'm thankful that I had a place to park it. Listen, if you've been to New York City, you could have all the cars in the world, but it becomes nothing when you can't find a parking spot, okay? All right, so you think about it, you're thankful, and you start to cultivate gratitude. You start to understand, oh my God, I'm not the only person in the world. Maybe, and this is when we start to move to community, something the earth is starting to do as well as a collective consciousness. We're in the age of Aquarius, moving into community. I'm not the only people. How is that going to manifest for us? It's going to manifest as cosmic consciousness, galactic consciousness. Oh my God, I'm not the only species in the universe. What? And on top of that, I'm definitely not the most advanced. I'm not alone. What does this mean? Don't wait for your government to tell you what it means, because the next thing you will be picking up arms somewhere else to kill somebody else or some species because your government told you to do that. Because now it's been framed that this is your enemy, and you have to think independently. So the guides are really pushing us. Listen, back in June, they were talking about, remember they were talking about June is awareness month. They were like, get aware, get aware, get aware. And then July became, hey, stop being sheeple, start thinking for yourself. Your awareness, if you were working on it during June and just throughout life, God bless. Now you are armed with more of an idea of who you are. You become aware of the energies coming into your field. You become aware when the BS is coming down. You become aware that this person's trying to come around again. You feel it, you know it. You become aware when you're about to be triggered. And then you start to think and you realize, why am I being this way? Who taught me how to be this way? Because that's not who I am. That's why we say I'm being that way. You're having an experience of that, but the experience is not you. And sometimes we need help from people, right? You know, therapists or pastors or, you know, whoever, trees, listening to the wind. There are so many methods. Allowing yourself to be moved. So as you're sitting there waiting for the bus passes by and there's a message on the side of the bus, you allow it. Right? You when you start to realize, I'm free, I'm sovereign, I can do this. I've been asleep, I've been moving to the beat of the drum of other people. When you enroll in that first philosophy class, what do they call it? What do they ask you? How do you know what you know? You don't know what you know. You think you know because all these people told you this is what happens. You know, people who really got out there and looked in the telescopes and looked in the microscopes and looked at this. But there's a lot of the guides are calling it indiscretions, that they're so kind to say that, along the way that have happened, that amounts to being duped. Even people with multiple degrees have been duped in some ways and some things. And it's not our business right now to try to pinpoint, tell me where, how do you live, but the peer reviewed, and it doesn't matter. The takeaway right now is to get quiet, find some time and prioritize getting quiet. And I'm not talking about listening to the spa music and to putting this drumming on and to doing this song bowls, although I absolutely love those. And I think you should still have these things. These are called modalities or healing modalities. But your main modality should first and foremost be just you. Just you. Just you. Okay? You're the source. You are the sun. You are the star. You are the universe. Whatever you want to call it. You are the epicenter of the universe. And the more that you start to understand how your energetic field works, where your thoughts are stored, where your emotions are stored, how these thoughts and emotions and core beliefs single-handedly, dear Lord, translate into your ailments, your God bless, your cancers, right? It's a controversial statement. When you follow up and you learn this stuff, you start to understand. This is something Eastern medicine already knows, right? And so not just Eastern medicine, our indigenous tribes all over the world, they know this. People who are connected, they know this. It doesn't mean it's an easy path, but it's awareness. Right? Start to understand that. Then you'll start to understand, why did I just get angry when I saw that on TV? But my friend didn't care. Well, yeah, that's because when you look in your energetic field, you could see that you're carrying an energetic pattern and it's in this part of your field. You may have noticed that your wrist is hurting. That's because it's energetically around your wrist. And when I feel into that energy pocket there, I see your mother issues. I see a father who is very authoritative. Then I see slightly up here, there's an energy from prison, but it's not from this incarnation. It's from another one. And you're still carrying it. Let's take it out of your field. Let's understand it. Let's push it away. Let's go ahead and do the etheric surgery that you need, or the catheric surgery, or whatever you need at that moment. Let's talk about it, because you releasing it at the conscious level and understanding it, now you could see it, and then you understand better the relationships that you've had with some of these people. By the way, I just felt into those 3 people we're talking about. They were in that other lifetime. One was the judge, one was the jury, and one was the executioner. That's why you hate them. They work with you. They're your colleagues, but they're also the 3 biggest bees in the whole company and you hate them. And now let's talk about that. Why are you still carrying this around? Why are we talking about it? Because the energy is ready to be released. Let's look at it. Let's clear it so it no longer continues to stay there and atrophy your physical body illness. Okay? Whatever goes on in a non-physical, thanks guys, whatever goes on in a non-physical manifests in the physical if it is not cleared. Okay? And so you see, as we've said like many times, I almost said 30 times, and I looked and I was like 30 minutes, as the guides have said multiple times, as above, so below. You want to understand what's happening in your environment? Why did that car come out of nowhere? Why did that bum spit on me? Excuse me, not to use the word bum, but this would be the thought you're thinking. You're not like, how did this person who is without a home? No, you're like, what happened, right? What happened? Why did I get into this argument? Why, I mean, of all the people in this amazing restaurant, why did I get the crappy waiter? Why did I get this beautiful house, but it's falling apart, right? These are things that you have to understand are related to the energy field in your body, because you, my friend, are nothing more than a beautiful, amazing, energetic magnet. And it is your job not to seek to be understood, not to let people explain that to you. It is your job to go out and try to understand that. And that's why when you go to our beloved Dalai Lama, for example, and you know, if you want to see the Dalai Lama, God bless you, you have to get in line. You might have to wait 6 months, maybe 8 months, and you better have your questions already with you, and you probably pre-screened, and you know, and you may sit for the whole 6 months waiting for your interview, and then finally it's your time and you appear before him, and his energy is focused on you now, like how can I be with you in this moment? And all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, all the questions I thought I wanted to ask you now seem so trivial now that I'm in your presence. Do you understand that? We all want to have dinner with that one person to understand, to talk with them, because we're so inspired. But then when you get into their presence, you're like, oh my God, I suddenly am so self-conscious because I realize this is a small question, and then they're like, ask the question anyway. And you ask, why am I not open to love? Or how come I this or what? And then they look you dead in the eye and they say, go home and forgive your parents. And you're like, no! It's always some very simple sentence that you wait 8 months to talk to them about, and they say this. And that is because when we get into deep spiritual, when we express something about spirit that is so deep and so profound, it's always some one word thing or some small sentence, you know thyself. What? 18 lifetimes later, like, come on, love yourself, okay? These are things that take time to explore. But I'll tell you what, when you understand, when someone's like, you're a coward, and you're like, what are you saying? That first girlfriend called you a coward or vice versa. And you're like, I'm not a coward. And here you are thinking whatever. Guess what? Then at age 46, you realize, oh my God, I was a coward. I was afraid. I was afraid to love. I was afraid to trust. You understand something about yourself, when you understand something and you really get it, when you have a visceral reaction to it, you'll know, because the tears will come, the emotions will come, the relief will come. It's not an intellectual understanding like, oh, I get it. Like, spirit will tell you, hey, the reason why this is happening is because boom, boom, boom. You may disagree, you may agree, you may be whatever, you may be like, yeah, I totally agree. But you won't understand it yet until you have that moment. Some may call it the aha moment. I like to call it a visceral moment. It's a moment where you're just like, okay. It's like everything comes into alignment and coherence. I understand. And that's what we work towards, right? We work towards this. And so Spirit is not here today to tell you, hey, what have you been doing? You've been wasting time. That is not the message at all. Spirit is here to say, hey, we're entering, number one, Lionsgate is coming up. Get ready, collect yourself so we can get through this portal together and, really do the best we can with it. But also we're entering into an age now, and you see it with the way the money is flowing on the planet, the way the policies are being done. We're entering into an age now where we are being asked to stretch ourselves, where we're being asked to become community members, but you do not just go outward, you go inward first. You put your mask on first before you put it on everybody else. You get inside and you learn about yourself first so that you can fully understand, or to the best of your ability understand, how you relate to other people. Because if you're not aware of that, guess what? Now you have the misbelief that you're other people. And now you've got this, and you've got drama, and you're sleeping, and you're distracted, and you're still watching that, and you're still listening to this, and you have a bad mood, but you're listening to that music, which is tanking you, and you're eating that food, which is tanking you, and you're moving around the planet with entitlement. You're not thanking anybody, right? And so you have to understand that Spirit is saying, wake up. It's just time to wake up. It's time to move. It's time to understand. It's time to connect. Wherever you are on the planet, just get quiet. Get into yourself, have the willingness to be shown by something higher than you, and you don't have to define what that is now. Have something higher than you show you, because whether you believe it or not, you are moving to the flow of energy. That's what it is. We live in a fractal universe. Everything is boom, 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 same thing. Oh, a hand and another hand and another hand, and right? The question, my friend, to you is, whose flow are you moving to? Are you going to move to the flow of all these celebrities? Are you going to move to the flow of the religious institutions? You're going to move to the flow to the pharmaceutical industry? You're going to move to the flow of all these big time degrees? And listen, I know I got degrees. Like, I have degrees upon degrees. Like, too many degrees. Why do we need this, right? Okay, I needed it. Thank you, God. But you see my point? That's not what gives you knowledge of self. That gives you substantive knowledge. It helps you to hone the brain. It helps you to think deeper. It helps you to cultivate critical thinking. And we love this. We need this, but we need to understand that as we embrace all of these beautiful institutional things and the local neighborhood watch who's been telling you things, as we understand those and as we engage with those, it means nothing if you don't balance that. Oh, there's the Justice card with the balance. If you don't balance that with inner awareness. And I know everybody and their mother's like, I want to go to the new earth. And they'll be like, we're in the 5D now and we're in the new earth. And then they go and they get mad at the what do you call it? The smoothie guy, because whatever. We're all guilty of it, right? I don't know what the smoothie guy was doing. He gave you the wrong smoothie, whatever, right? He was having a bad day, right? But you have to understand, how can you get to this place in your mind that has been defined for you? By the way, it's been defined for you. Did you sit down and did you go inward and get quiet and ask your higher self, which is your own energy, to be in attendance with you, to sit with you, and to speak to you and to teach you and to instruct you about what this idea is that you're hearing about, this new earth consciousness? Did you do that? Or did you read a book and you went on Instagram and you did all this and you spoke with this shaman? What did you do? Did you leave yourself out of this equation? Because your new earth, whatever, is going to be different from somebody else's. What if you found out when you started finally going into yourself? What if you started to realize, oh my God, I'm evolving much faster. Oh my God, I have all these personal assistants around me that serve me, capital S. It's not serving in an egotistic way. That serve me because they know that by serving me, they are learning themselves, and together we are working together to serve the rest of humanity, right? And I want to move, and I just need only whisper to the wind, please show me. And then I just wait and let things come to me. I don't have to sit here and go and look at all of these, well, the market price here, and when you get into understanding yourself in the flow and you set your intention, which is the best way to set the dials on your ship, so to speak, to navigate society, you realize you don't get a job because your resume this, and you don't get a home because your credit score this. No, you don't operate in those systems. If you keep thinking you operate in those systems, guess where you're going to be? Because you're setting the coordinates. You're setting the coordinates. I'm trying to explain that by saying it 3 times. You are setting the coordinates. I have to tell you, every time I have had an amazing gift, a job, a home, I just fall right back into these, like ass backwards into it. And I didn't have to, I didn't find those things using the proper channels, and this is my resume, and that I spoke to this, and I had my elevator speech ready, and I had my cover letter, and yeah, I did all that stuff. But the jobs that I got that were the places I ended up living that were the experiences that I had that were those came because I was in the flow. And the flow was not talking to somebody out there who made it because they're making 6 figures and this is how they did it, and you can do it too, you lazy bum, and if you didn't, then you didn't go to school, and if you didn't do this and you didn't do that, and like all that is hogwash. That being sovereign means understanding that I see that is one of the many systems that are out here, but I know who pays my bills, I know who puts me out there, I know who takes care of me, I know who protects me, I know. And so you see, it is your job again to seek to understand. You don't try to tell spirit to make this make sense to you. You set the intention to do your work. And that looks as simple again, it's always very simple, as, oh, wow, I don't really know how to do this, or are you out there? Hello, God. Hello. Well, listen, I got a month. Like, yeah, let's show up and show out. I'm here. I'm willing to listen. Willing. Yeah, I may not be, like, I don't believe it. I don't whatever, but I'm willing to be shown. I'm willing to be moved. And your job is to do your best to avoid putting up barriers to that movement. So many times the answer is yes, and we get what we're given, what we're asking for, but we bat it away. We bat it away, and guess what? It doesn't even get a chance sometimes to manifest in your physical. Because I'll be working with a beloved client, God bless, and I'll be like, oh, I see somebody on your periphery here, who dat? Right? And then when we talk about the person may be like, oh, I don't know this person, or they may be like, Jeffrey? I don't know if there's a Jeffrey, but yeah. The guides are saying, yeah, you need to chat with Jeff, talk to Jeff for a bit, like what he doing, and you couldn't even manifest Jeff in your life because you're too busy focusing on, damn, I almost called some exes now. Oh, wait, what? On who do I not know? Rex. Okay, sorry if you know a Rex or you are a Rex. I'm sure you're a great Rex, but Rex, you're focusing on Rex, so you can't see. So sometimes the person, the job, the opportunity, the home, the whatever, passes you by. Because it's not about punishment. It's because you energetically are incapable of magnetizing that thing, that person, that place, that thing, that whatever to you. Your energy may be too low, the frequency, so it doesn't even get close. Or, it's just, yeah, they get close enough to cross your path. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, I bumped into you. Can I help you get in the door or something? You're like, oh no, I'm good. I can hold it myself. Thank you. Have a nice day. Okay, you have a nice day, ma'am. Oh, listen, that guy, he was gonna be your husband. Guess what? You blew it. You blew it in that moment because. And it's okay. There was Rodney to come step in to meet you at that level. Rodney walked in the door before you. Rodney didn't even ask, you good? He just walked in. Because that's what you put out there. Somebody wanted to give to you. You couldn't even receive it. And I'm guilty of that. I'm sorry to myself. Who am I saying sorry to? But I'm standing oh my God. Hashtag scene. But you couldn't even receive. You couldn't even receive in that moment. And you cut off the energy. And it's rough when you couldn't even manifest, what's his name? Jeffrey. They're opening the door. Jeffrey the giraffe from Toys R Us back in the day. You couldn't even get him to visit you. You couldn't even visit the store on the day he went. Jeffrey came out the door and went that way, and then you're like, oh. Or he came the day before. Because energetically you were just so not in the right frame of mind. And so let's talk about that concept. You, my friend, are the sacred vehicle. When we talk about navigating time, space, let's not even go out there. Let's talk about, we can, but I'm saying let's start small. Let's talk about how you program your energetic field to navigate your own society. Case in point, let's say that you're super cute and you're like, oh my gosh, I would love to move to a new home. Okay, you want to move, let's chat it out. You don't start by going onto Craigslist or going on to whatever. That's a waste of your time, because what you're doing is you're saying, okay, based on the current now moment, the only moment there is, based on my current energy at this specific moment, with all my inner traumas, my anger from the last week, and my depression from this relationship, and my money woes and this and that, my energetic snapshot of me right now, I'm going to get on Zillow or whatever and start looking for a home. Guess what? Don't even waste your time. You're just going to get trash, because you're going to attract energy that is like what you're carrying. And God forbid if you're carrying low, harsh energies like, oh, I want to compete with my siblings, or I never get anything good. All of that is the energy that you're moving into the world with to call to you. So I say, if you want to say, oh my gosh, I'd like to find a new place, I'd say, hey, that's so wonderful. Let's talk about it. Like, what's coming up for you? Why would you like to get a new place? Like, and then you talk about it, and then you observe. Why are you doing that? What are the thoughts? What are the emotions? What is the drive? What is driving this desire for you to want to move? And of course, you want to make sure that those are all healthy, and those are love-based and self-love based and compassionate, and not just because you think you want to move closer to this guy and see how it happens, you think about it. And then on top of that, if it all checks out, I would say, okay, well, why don't you just chill, kick back for the next 2 weeks, maybe give yourself a month where you're not actively looking. You just start praying and you ask, hey, angels, guides, if you don't mind, can you start helping me to prepare? Right? The Buddha prepares. It's on one of the cards, the oracle cards I have, to prepare for this calling. And it's interesting, because this calling and also this culling, because what you're doing is you're calling in an energy, but when you call in energy, you're also signing up to cull certain energies. And we understand that if you want to get a new place, you have to leave one place. But it also includes people, places, things, situations, just energies in general that are all attached to that energy that you are now, including the place. So what you're actually doing when you call in and you call upon spirit, your higher self, your angels, your guides, to help prepare you, is that they are helping you to cut any cords. They're helping you to raise your vibration. They're helping you to start to believe that you're deserving and that you're worthy of something wonderful. They're starting to expand your consciousness. They're giving you things during your dream. They're calling in people to have conversations with you. They're moving your world to match what it is that you ask for. And so you see that as a sacred space. That is a sacred time when you have the moment and the idea. By the time it comes into your thought, your mental body, to be like, ooh, this would be interesting, or your desire body, ooh, this would be interesting, it's already been energetically in your field, and thank God it was able to make its way there. Now you had the desire. So we don't want to kill the dream at that point. We want to comfort it. We want to bring it close. We want to love it. We want to pray over it. We want to give it to God. We want to ask for divine selection and all that we do, right? And so what you do is you prepare, and you ask to be prepared. And that is when spirit enfolds you and starts to make energies happen. And when energies happen, it means things are coming in, ideas are coming, but it also means things that are not in alignment with what it is that you're asking for are making their way out. And that is a part where a lot of people, I understand, we start pumping the brakes because we're afraid. That's the attachment. We want to be unattached. Okay? Fear will keep us attached to people. Fear will keep us attached to places. Something as simple as like, oh, can I even do this house? Can I even get a house? What would my sister think? What would my brothers and my cousins, or I don't know, right? What would my friends think? Who cares? Get unattached. And so you start to unattach yourself. You start to detach yourself so that you may be made ready for this receiving. And when you get the okay, you'll know, because things will start to come in and they will naturally start to hold on to you. And the next thing, you bump into Jeffrey, who just happens to be a realtor, and oh my God, you were receptive to it, and you didn't even know he's a realtor, and somehow you struck up a conversation after he held the door open for you, and now you're waiting in line for your smoothie that you're not going to blow up at the smoothie guy for, right? Because you've learned, right? And then he's like, well, I'm a realtor, why don't I give you my card? And all of a sudden, the beginning of good things happen. And all you need to do is remain open. This is the idea of flow. We are always flowing. When we're not flowing, it's because there's a blockage. And when there's a blockage, we need to understand, number one, oh, hey, there's a blockage. And that's why we need awareness, so that we can observe that some mass, some energetic mass is there. And then that awareness brings consciousness into our decisions and allows us to make more conscious decisions. And then we can call upon spirit, our higher selves, which is us, just at a higher dimension. They know, right? We know. Your angels and your guides, God. You call upon, or whichever energy figures are for you that you feel safe with, right? Lord Ganesh, right? Some people would call upon Ashtar Commander Ashtar, right? Some people would call upon their Arcturian guides. They may call upon the Mother Mary. They may call upon their grandparents. They may call upon their ancestors. They may speak to the trees. They may walk in water and touch the rocks and receive. So it's up to you. Some will take a sheet of paper out and just start doodling and just receive the information themselves. You are an amazing being. You are all intelligent. You are all intelligence. And one of the biggest things that human beings don't understand, because they don't know, and it's understandable, and not all, some human beings they know, but what they don't know is that there's so many amazing species that exist on our planet and outside of our planet that would love to work with us. Some want to be us. They want to be humans. The guy, they're so funny. They're like, nah, not for the intelligence, maybe for the ability to have emotion, right? Because there's some species, right, that they're like, we're gonna cut out that last transmission. They want to look. We have unique abilities as human beings, right? And one of those unique things is our ability to have emotion. Now, it doesn't mean that other species don't have emotions, but we have a lot of it, right? And we have certain things that are unique to us, just like other beings have things that are unique to them. And so, you see, when we start to understand more of ourselves and we start to place ourselves within our galactic community, then we can have jokes and we can laugh with other beings. Right? But anyway, first things first, and that means starting with you, starting with understanding that you are sovereign, that it's time to wake up, it's time to get started, it's time to understand, and it's time to start realizing that you're a very powerful being. You just totally forgot how to use your vehicle. And we're not living in the times anymore where this knowledge is so sealed in these esoteric tomes and these hermetic places and all of that. Of course, there are still places like that who hold on to this knowledge. But listen, we're not about that anymore. We live we live in a very literary age. We have critical thinking. There's just so much. Our biggest issue is needing to transcend the bias and the conditioning that we've had. Oh my God, I've been talking for like 53 minutes. And so, it kind of, I just feel like I just observe when people are like, oh, this is so woo-woo. Like anytime I hear somebody say that word, I just kind of just like, all right, that's where they are. When you say things like that and you have those kinds of ideas, what I see immediately is, oh, this is somebody plugged into mainstream society that has its source in places, in groups, in institutions that benefit from having us ridicule and deride the very truth about our sovereignty. If you can't even believe something is real and look at it with a sense of respect and desire to be curious and to understand, that thing is the safest thing from you ever. Oh, don't go in that room. There's nothing in that room. It's just an old plain room. And we don't like plain rooms, right? Yeah, no. But look at this mansion over here. You deserve this mansion. You know why? Because you look like that. Because you sound like that. Because I say so. And then you start being like, yeah. And then you start telling other people, they start telling other people they don't get to have that mansion, but you do. Because this, now we introduce the vision. And then, hey, I'll tell you something. But secretly, just between you and me, now we introduce special relationships. Listen, that's all BS. The fact remains, there's a room there. What the hell is behind that room? Let me see it. No. They can't actually stop you. No, don't go. When you're ready and you're like, I want to see for myself what's back there. Now, if you, excuse me, let me go. And then you open it and you realize, oh my God, this room was here all this time, all these generations, all this time. The thing that was stopping you from putting your foot down and stepping into your sovereignty and researching and taking the initiative to create your own ideology and to get in that room was yourself and your choice to believe the conditioning that you've had. And when people can condition you to think a certain way, they will hide things from you in plain sight, okay? We know this. Listen, I'm a teacher. Listen, I just finished talking, not today, I'm not teaching right now, but I just finished talking to some of the other teachers in the teachers lounge, and we already decided we're going to give the test next week, and we will laugh about this, and the students don't know, because it's just part of, you can't tell the students, hey, there's a test, or there's not going to be a test, or we're going to give them this day off, we're not going to give them this test, we're not going to let them know, right? So the same with your healthcare providers. There's certain things they're talking about with each other. No, they're never going to let you know. Yeah. Did you see that judge and that lawyer having lunch together? Yeah, they went to law school together. They're friends. And now they're both in the same courtroom with you as you're fighting for your life. So you have to understand that we live in a society where it just behooves you to start to focus on learning, real learning. This is not to say that the learning that you've had is diminished. We still need learning about medicine and pharmacology and the law and this and the that and engineering and all of that. But you best believe that it is your job to put things into perspective. Teaching is one of the most important professions in all of time. It's not even a profession, it is just a way of life. That's just it. But yet here in the United States, teachers are at the bottom, and we see this treatment for nurses. Nurses are incredibly necessary, but yet they're being derailed. Public officials have so much respect and so much deference, but yet we look behind a closed door and we see what's going on over there. Meanwhile, there's some real ones who are trying to get into public office, who are trying to help, and the door is closed, right? So you have to understand there are many things happening on this planet, and that's just the nature of being in the same space. So everyone wants to be, in the cantina on Star Wars, and to live, in Star Wars, and to live in a Star Trek. They want to be in the Federation, and they want to be aboard this ship, and they want to be in engineering, and I would be in the sciences, of course, God bless, counseling. And, we all want to do this stuff, but we're not ready. A lot of people are not ready to understand what it means to live side to side with different species. For example, both of you talking to each other, you just look different. Look what people are struggling on this planet with just pigmentation, with gene expression. Dear Lord, gene expression. We create a whole society of yeses and nos to a whole bunch of people based on gene expression. Come on, guys. So anyway, the guides are asking us to wake up, because evolution, your evolution, is dependent upon it. And don't make a mistake. The collective is evolving at its own pace. Much as you would evolve, much as you can get a group of 30 people to make a decision at its pace. The bigger the group, the slower it takes. But you have the key to evolve in your time. And that's the choice that the guides are coming in here to say. They're saying, you tell us, you let us know we're all here. And I know we're all here because listen, my room is filled. Okay, we're all here. All your teams are like, listen, we're ready. You say the word if you want to change your life, you want to understand, right? Or you can keep hanging around, and there's nothing wrong with beautifying and getting the acrylics. I always get acrylics. We all love acrylic nails. The acrylic nails and the sunglasses and this car and this and these clothes and oh my God, and that guitar and this and that. Listen, all that's great. But at the end of the day, if you can't even do the basics, which is to sit by yourself and connect with yourself, or even with the team of people who've been hanging with you for some of them lifetimes. They're like, oh, we're going into another lifetime together, let's go. And they're with you every day. If you can't even do that, then like maybe we gotta, reevaluate. Okay, anyway, sorry. Guides are like, get it together. All right, look at that, the portal keeper. We're talking about, oh, that was a nice, my Virgo mind is like, oh, nice shot there. We're talking about gearing up for this entry now. And as you guys saw in the weekly reading that we just put out, they're saying, hey, collect yourselves. Collect your fragmented selves. Get quiet. Compose yourself. Stop giving your energy away. Call back your energy. Get grounded. Cut those cords. We're heading into Lion's Gate. Now you can put your hands and feet outside of the vessel on the way in if you'd like, or you can collect yourself and ride this out. 1 hour, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 minute and 1 second when I said that. Heart chakra, hurling back to love. Look at this. Crown chakra came up reversed. The unlimited self. We're talking about unlimiting the self. So right now we're talking to as many people as are willing to listen. There's a willingness. This is what we need. We need this. Get to self, because through self you get out there and into community. And look at this, the seamless unspeakable. It almost looks like, this is so cute, it almost looks like let me show you guys. Oh, I didn't even see this card here. Oh, look at that. Thank you, Spirit. See, it almost looks like here, like if we're in a ship, because that's what there was the impression I was getting earlier yesterday when I did, or whenever I did the last video. And it's like here we are approaching this structure, this, that's coming up. And then as we get closer, we start to get into the portal itself, which is right here. And then guess what? On the other side, we come out, and here we are. They're saying in a new generation, right? They're saying, God's gift. These portals, man, solstices, the eclipses, all of those, the equinoxes, whatever you want to call them, the Lion's Gate. I mean, these are portals. They are energetic portals. We're holes, whatever. Look how cute. Transformation. I love her. Aw, so cute. Now I want to hug. Transformation. This is what it's about. You choose your transformation. You don't have to talk to anybody after this video. You don't have to talk to me. You don't have to talk to your friends. You don't have to tell anybody about this. It's not an everybody thing. It's you. You. And it's your choice. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and stop there. God is good. If you have any questions, if you'd like to work together to in any capacity, I also feel like the guides were saying that there going to be maybe new collaborations. So if you're watching and you're like, oh, I feel called, only if you feel called, please. I feel called to collaborate, or I feel called to, professionally, or I feel called to, receive healing services or whatever, you know where to find me. Okay, but until then, God bless you, and the best of everything for you. Oh, thank you. DM me on Instagram if you're interested in collaborating, and of course we'll feel out the energies and see if this is something that is part of the energy that I'm feeling coming in. And if you'd like to have services of any kind with me, then please don't DM me. only because I have a lot going on. But please go to my Etsy page, and all of the information and the links are there. All right. Love you guys. Super hugs. Bye. Oh, happy August.